Hello everyone, my name is John Smiley, and this is the John Smiley Variety Hour. I don't really have a name for it yet, but right here with us today we have the illustrious Benny B. Benny, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, John Bob. How about you?
I'm doing
John
lovely.
Smiley.
Either way, John Bob works. That's kind of my moniker. I don't think I've ever used that word up to this point. Yeah, so Benny, why don't you tell us about yourself? I wanna get to know what makes Benny B who she is.
Well, I guess I'd say just creating and making others happy is kind of what I like to
That sounds pretty
I guess
dang
I'd
good.
say that. Yeah, I enjoy it. I just enjoy creating and making things that people find fun or cute. Cute is my specialty.
Hell yeah.
That's what I love to do.
I'm on board with that. So, of course, we're both relatively popular artists on Twitter. That's where we know each other from.
Yes.
What are your general thoughts on Twitter, I guess?
Well, I mean, Twitter is definitely kind of a love-hate relationship. I mean,
That's
there's
right.
some things that I do love about Twitter for sure. There are things that I do like, but there's a lot of things that I don't really care for. But I enjoy the friendships I've made, and getting to meet all these cool people in like such a short amount of time it's really an eye-opening experience to have so many people looking at you and seeing what you create and being able to make them happy too. I guess that's mostly the upsides. The downsides, we don't really like to talk about. I think we all know how toxic Twitter can be.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I of course agree with you on that. The Twitter experience is kind of a varied one. With every good thing that comes from it, there is also the bad things.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but what are some annoying things from Twitter?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of annoying things. I think mostly it's people making assumptions, I guess, about your character, what you're all about when you're just trying to do what you want to do, and it's not really necessarily negative or positive, but you're just trying to create and do what you want to do, and somebody's making assumptions that you're.
I definitely feel that. I think that I've kind of fostered and grown this reputation, and then kind of looking back on it, I wonder, wait, is that really who I am? Really, like, I think people. I kind of had this crisis earlier. I was like, wait a minute, do people think I'm this like pansy, kind of soft boy kind of character? I don't know. Like everything like you said, everything I draw is pretty much on the cuteness factor. I generally like to make my art appealing, and a good way to do that is through cuteness. So yeah, and of course my character is kind of this gummy bear-esque.
Yes.
And I've kind of had that since I was like an early young like teen. So it's not really changed too much from there. So it's kind of funny how now that I'm like now I'm starting to get into my 20s and I'm still kind of carrying this. It's like, do I want to be seen as that? And I don't know. I mean, I don't think I can drop the. It's obviously a good connotation to people who see as me as like a positive person or like a nice, kind person. But I don't know. With that might come, maybe they view me as kind of weak or like. It's sometimes I'll make a tweet where I swear and people go, John Bob swears? I'm like, yeah, where the hell have you been, buddy?
Yeah, it's like that for me too. When I first, got my, I guess kind of when we first started to get to know each other, when you discovered my art, it was kind of a experience where I was, being nice to people and, being kind, and everyone was saying, Benny, like, oh, she's so cute, she's so squishy and small, and everyone's like, oh, she's so cute.
She's squishy and small. Look at those thighs. I just want to squeeze those thighs.
Like,
whoa.
It got to the point where people were, they were like taking advantage of my niceness, or, thinking they could talk to me any kind of way, and then when I get, aggressive, everyone, don't talk to me like that.
that gave birth to like the mean Benny, which we kind of know.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, she's such a
oh, what a bitch.
A mean person. She's horrible. Yeah, everything's I'm a bitch.
She's not letting me sexualize her character.
To...
What the hell? No, yeah, I think
yeah.
We've had some hilarious interactions on there. I think
sure.
I find your kind of shortness to be hilarious, and I think that you don't have to sacrifice that aspect of your character. Of course, you can be nice, but you can also I'm not gonna take your shit if you're gonna give this to me. I think
exactly.
It's interesting. We both are relatively new, like in the big Twitter sphere. Like obviously, I myself this time last year I was under 1,000 followers on Twitter. Just recently I've just this year I started out with like I think at the beginning of the year I was at like 5,000, and now I'm at 30K. And I think you have a you have a pretty
beginning of
you have a similar experience.
Yeah, pretty sizable, yeah.
So,
but yeah, mine just started this January. It was this January I just gotten to 1,000, and then when I think I was nearing 2,000 was when I really got well known, because I drew this comic of my one wasp character, and it was like a little comic of her being introduced, and everyone loved it. And after that, I just kept going up. So
that
was
was your launch pad point.
Yeah,
nice.
It really was.
Obviously, you got a lot of help from me retweeting your stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it was.
Yeah, it's interesting how there's been a conversation about big Twitter characters, and recently, and we've seen that. And it's kind of interesting how we're kind of new to that, so it's really interesting seeing a perspective from a smaller artist saying like, oh, big artists are rude and they don't retweet enough people, and it's like I was in that place not too long ago.
Yeah.
So
like a couple of months ago I was in your spot, and it's like it's tough to hear that, because I'm like I do understand what it's like, but
I was there.
Also I was there a couple of months ago.
And now I'm living the dream, and you want to pull me down like the crabs in the bucket thing, where when there's a bucket of crabs and one crab's trying to claw his way out, the other crabs in the bucket will pull him down actively.
Yeah.
It's a weird, and that's kind of the attitude you see. And like obviously, I'm in a privileged position being a popular artist, and I don't ever want to take that for granted. And of course, thank the people who got me here. But it's very interesting how we've seen that attitude.
It's definitely pretty tough, to feel like I finally made it. Yeah,
right.
Like I finally made it, and then everyone's like, oh man, they're so full of themselves. They're just talking about whatever they want to talk about. I'm like, I just want to say what I want to say.
And I've kind of and it's kind of interesting thinking back to how I viewed more popular people. I guess I might have been a little bit of the same, where I'd be like, oh, why is this person kind of aloof and acting rude to his followers and all this stuff? Like I'd never do that. I'd always be nice, and I accept every DM I get. But now that I'm in that position, it's kind of like I kind of get it.
Oh,
it's
now
like,
I understand. Yeah, I understand the other side of it now.
Yeah.
Where people who are smaller artists, they look up to you in this way of like, oh, you're like this. There are either people who are jealous or like kind of spiteful. And then there's the other side where people are like so over the top, like treat you like a god, where it's uncomfortable either way.
That's kind of funny how it works both ways.
It's tough. Yeah.
Anyway, moving away from the negative black hole that is Twitter. I don't know. Let's talk more about general, creativity and stuff like that. So, how did you originally get into art all those years back when? Baby Benny.
Okay, so, well, when I was very little, my mom always says that I just had the gift of art, because even though my mom keeps all
but
of
Benny,
my art
every
stuff,
mom tells that to their child.
No, I know, but she even looking back at my old art when I was in kindergarten or first grade, my mom was like, it's just different from other kids my age. It wasn't just scribbles. It wasn't just
you gotta be you gotta encourage them so that they don't give it up right away.
My mom, she's my biggest cheerleader. Always has been, always will be.
That's great.
And she keeps like every single thing. Like she has boxes of all my drawing journals over the years. And
oh, really? That's
you know,
so cool.
I've never thrown out really any of my art unless it was like a pen doodle that
I really wish I
don't
saved
like,
some of my older stuff. I have like comics.
Oh, I saved all of it. I save all of it because
just lost
you know,
the time.
even though it might be horrible, like and cringy and emo, and you know, it was just really bad.
It's a part of you.
I still keep it. Yeah, it's a part of me, and
if
I love going back
from
and
time,
laughing at it.
you wouldn't be where you are right now.
Yeah, and so all those years, I just kind of got my start. But when I really wanted to pursue art as a, you know, more of a career, you know, or a hobby, I guess. I mean, it is more of a hobby, but I decided, you know, it was in 2007, 2008 when Phineas and Ferb started.
Hell yeah.
That's my ultimate inspiration for.
That's your biggest inspiration,
to create.
Well,
yeah,
you kind of leapfrog. I had that written down. Like, what was your big cartoon or inspiration or whatever? So good.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Yeah, for the longest time, I was on DeviantArt for a long time.
Nice.
When I was like, I don't know, like 11 or 12 or something, and I just followed like all these Phineas and Ferb artists, and there was this one.
So you were like a Phineas and Ferb mega fan, though.
Oh,
wow,
absolutely! Dang. It was my
Nice.
biggest thing. I talked about it all the time. I had like, I put duct tape on my phone, and then I drew all over it with Phineas and Ferb related things on it. Like I was absolutely obsessed with it. And
well,
I watched it until, you know, it finally ended in 2016 or was it? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
14, I don't
Something
remember.
like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's, you know, and the creators of it, the Dan Swampy Marsh and Dan Povenmire, just Swampy Marsh, but they just, I don't know, I guess the comedy was just kind of cynical, but really like you have to pay attention to what they're saying. I just really love that humor style. I just loved it.
Yeah, it has a really interesting style of humor where like I don't know, it's a really unassuming show at first glance. It's like this is just a formulaic show. Then like you get a joke that just kind of cuts to the heart of things.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain that. I don't have an example. But yeah.
It's like it's like a show that both adults and kids can like, because kids like it for their own reason, but then adults see it like, oh my gosh, it's actually kind of clever, you know?
Aren't they making like a movie or something right now?
Yeah, on Disney Plus.
And I know
but I don't have Disney Plus yet.
They had the new show Milo Murphy's Law that was kind of like
I did watch some of that.
Spiritual successor.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I liked it because it kept the same art style for the longest time, and that was the one thing that I did. That's how I got into being able to mimic art styles. It's kind of how I started mishmashing all of it together over the years. Like
the Phineas and Ferb art style.
Yeah, for the longest time, I could not draw Phineas's head. I couldn't draw his head.
It's a triangle.
So
it's just a triangle. What's wrong with you?
Oh man, I have to like at some point I have to show my old art when I find it, but it was so bad. I couldn't draw his head, and so for the longest time I drew them differently.
Just that isosceles. I don't know. It all looked acute. Or obtuse. I don't know.
And so for the longest time I didn't know how to draw them, but over time that was how I learned to mimic art styles and, you know, figure out my own and sort of be able to create an art style that I actually really liked. And I mean, most of my art style doesn't really have that inspiration anymore, but I mean, that's kind of, you know, I got inspiration, I think, a little bit from Quirty Soda, and I got some inspiration from some other people, but
and me, of course.
Mostly just,
of course.
Yes, of course, yes, obviously, yes. And I just really enjoyed, you know, trying to find my path, and when I finally did, it was like so relieving to just have an art style that you like and you want to stick with, and you can, you know, get it down pat, because I struggled with that for so long, trying to find an art style.
And you definitely have your own kind of, you know, flair, and of course you have your own characters and stuff, which is really cool to see. So
and it's pretty tough too, you know. Most people, they don't really get their start with their own, you know, original characters. They have to start out with fan art, and, you know, I was doing fan art for so long, you know. When I finally got my big break with original characters, I was like, oh yeah.
I actually never really did too much fan art, so maybe that's why, you know, I originally had a slow start. But it's great to be able to have your own kind of stuff and have that actually get popular, because it generally, if you've seen, like, there's some memes I've seen that it's like, obviously that's not the case usually. You gotta draw fan art in order to get the attention. But yeah, definitely. So I guess something else I was curious, do you have like any non-art related hobbies or anything like that? Because if someone asks me that, I'd probably say no. I do nothing.
Yeah, yeah, I do nothing.
Animate and do art all day. So yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I had to agree with that one. I really don't have much else. Art's just always been my thing.
It takes a lot of effort and mental acuity, and so it just kind of takes away from
yeah.
I don't know, the other stuff. So awesome. Well, I think that just about wraps up our conversation. I think we had a great time today.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Too.
And
no problem.
Hope you have a good day. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.